everybody says to me, is that Gene Principe really that nice in person? And I say, he's nicer away from the arena. And he joins us on the show today. Gino, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Bryn. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I got to tell you, I got a text message here, and I laughed when I read it. I'm just going to read it for you right now. Gene Principe, the man who gets a haircut once a year when the network tells him to. That one from James. And I laughed, and I thought, I think Karen's got a role in that too, right?
Yeah, James is about 7 months off because it was 19 months between haircuts. So, and I apologize, Bryn, I'm going off my car phone here.
That's okay.
Lose you, and now I have you in person on my handheld here. If you
Look at this.
can still hear me. You know what? The funny thing is, Karen actually likes the longer hair.
Really?
Yeah, she does. She always, I think it stems from when I first met her, and that's kind of how my hair was. It was long and curly and all that kind of stuff. So she kind of likes it like that. So that's why she sort of wants me to keep it long. But, at some point, I have to cut it.
Well, you know what? When a city councilor wants that haircut or that hair to stay long, you have to follow instructions, Gene.
Yes, absolutely. Otherwise, there will be some kind of motion that'll be passed, maybe to cut my hair once a year. I don't know if it would go through or not. But, maybe it would.
She's running again, right?
She is running. Yeah.
Okay.
That's she's running and I'm walking. We're a tag team of door knockers, pamphlet droppers, along with a team of people that Bryn, I really like. So I really actually like door knocking. It's a wonderful way to meet people, and I just think. And listen, let's be honest. When I go to a door, people are not asking me about bike lanes or property taxes. They want to talk about the Oilers,
right?
And I couldn't be happier that that's also what they want to talk about. There's really, they just see me and they think, hey, Oilers, especially obviously, back in the day, it was, more about just how they weren't seeming to find any traction, and now it's about how close they've been on, back-to-back years to winning the Stanley Cup. So it's a great way to, listen, born and raised Edmontonian, it's a great way to immerse yourself in the community, or at least another way, and so happy to do it, and certainly to support my wife.
Gee, let's stay with that one for a second, because, you get the opportunity a lot of us don't get on radio or television to actually meet your viewer or meet your listener and find out exactly how they feel about, your station, your network, the Oilers, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And you're meeting people, but they're more excited about meeting you. How's that gone in terms of just the conversations and type of thing like that? And what's the number one issue that people have with the Edmonton Oilers right now, other than the fact they just can't win those last couple of games to win the Cup?
You know what, Bryn, I think that's it. I don't think anybody has, quote unquote, an issue with the Oilers. I think they're just kind of as heartbroken, disappointed, frustrated. I would never say as much as the players, but in their own fandom kind of way, they feel like we've got a great team here and we're so close and just haven't been able to quite do it the last couple of years. So there's no sort of demands or yells that they've got to do this and they've got to do that. Everybody sort of knows that they do have to do some things, but there's not a lot that needs to be done. It's just some kind of addition to get an extra X amount of percent out of everybody, or certain players, or special teams, to get them just a little bit farther next year. So everybody, it's kind of funny. I wouldn't say people are delighted with the Oilers, even if the last couple of games didn't go their way. And I think with time, Bryn, sure, after 5 and 6, they're down in the dumps. But when they look back at the wonderful run that it was, I think people are starting to really appreciate that, they're one of two fan bases that got to cheer virtually till the end. So I think they look at it more from that standpoint now than they would have on June, was it 20th or 21st, the day or day after, Game 6.
Yeah, I think there was a little bigger funk after losing the first one in 7 than this one, but it just makes people more angry. I felt that from some of the players as well. Monster disappointment after losing the first one in 7, but losing this one to Florida, it just seemed like there was an anger because they know that they're that close. And hey, you know what? We've been checking in with teams all across the country here this week. I'm going to ask you kind of the same questions. Well, I had Derek Wills on from Calgary a few minutes ago, so I want to go down the same lines of questioning with you here. The way the season went, give me your take on how you felt the season rolled out the way it did. And it was fascinating because speaking of playing in a funk, they started the season off a little bit flat, and they just got better and better as the season went along, I felt. But they weren't healthy until the end, really.
Yeah, I would echo that, to be honest with you. I think we all, whether you worked at Rogers Place, you skated on the ice, you broadcast pregame, postgame intermissions, you were a fan sitting in your basement, I think everybody kind of felt that sort of, I don't know if it was a melancholy sort of cloud over everyone. Nothing bad was going on in October or November. It just wasn't the sharpness that we saw previously from the Oilers. Then they got going and shook it off, which I think I totally expected that. I wasn't surprised by the way they started, just that there was still just some feelings from what had almost happened to then picking it up and gaining speed and making deals at the deadline. But it was around then, going into the last 4 or 5 weeks, that the Oilers, I mean, the lineup that wasn't on the ice was unbelievable. And so I think that's why, and credit LA, that the Oilers had that sort of funky start to the playoffs where, you're down 2-0 and then you're down 2-1 in overtime in game 4, a goal, and you're behind in the series 3-1. But they kind of fought through that, and it was onward and upwards. I mean, to do what they did to Vegas and Dallas, and even to be, even through 4 games in the Cup final, I think everybody was ecstatic. So, then 5 and 6 roll around, and, 6, I think, was more predictable in the sense that you've got Florida at home, the old, we don't want to hop on a plane and fly 5 hours into the craziness that is oil country. Let's try and take care of this, right? And they did. Game 5 is the one, I think if fans want to talk about something, it would be Game 5, just how that played out. But I think, Bryn, whether it's door knocking or running into someone at the grocery store or the gas station or anywhere we run into people, I think that Florida, people may not like them, particularly with some of the things that occurred afterwards, but I think there was an understanding echoed by Connor McDavid's words right after Game 6. They were better. And I think that's how fans, maybe not initially, but as they look back at it, they realized that it was a close series and maybe a bounce or two goes Edmonton's way and a game or two goes Edmonton's way. But in the end, Florida, when the key moments arrived in the key games to try and clinch or put yourself in that kind of situation, they were able to get it accomplished.
2 big ones for me. It was losing at home in game number 2, and then you come back for game 5, and you just, you've got 2 of the final 3 games at home, and Florida just found a way to get it done in game 5, and I never felt they really rebounded after that. That was kind of the final nail in the coffin for me. Now let's look ahead a little bit here. After the NHL draft, everybody's talking about Connor McDavid. When's he going to sign? And then, of course, we have the big news about Isaac Howard this week. And your thoughts on both of those situations?
Yeah, well, Isaac Howard is quite the interesting cat. Hey, I feel like he's a guy I want to get to know more about, I guess, and I know you spoke to him and I listened to his availability yesterday, and it was yesterday, right? Sorry, yes. I'm losing track of days.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved it. I think people need to hang tight a bit. We wait to see it appears he'll start. I mean, unless he appears he'll start and start the season, continue his college career, unless maybe something unexpected occurs. But we've seen many players that when their college season is done, boom, they're airlifted into whatever team they're on, and then continue their season. So I think that's exciting. And listen, Bryn, you and I have been here. We're Edmontonians, and we've been through the highs, the lows, and everything in between. And to have a guy drafted by Tampa want to come to Edmonton is something that we didn't see before. In a trade, yes, but I'm saying the trade happened because this kid wasn't going to come to any kind of conclusion or terms with Tampa. So he decides that, hey, Edmonton would be unbelievable for me. So I think that's something that Edmontonians should feel good about, and the Oilers should feel good about. And I look forward to seeing him in person and seeing what kind of player he translates to in the NHL. And as for, Connor McDavid, it's funny. I just saw, when I was out, I saw these three kids. They would have been like 12. And they were just talking about the Oilers, and the guy goes, I got one question for him. I'm like, what? He goes, is Connor McDavid signing? And I said, yeah, he's going to sign with Edmonton. I kind of just said, yeah, he's going to sign with Edmonton. And the kid, I could hear him riding his bike away. He goes, look, we know something now nobody else knows. Connor McDavid signing in Edmonton. And I felt like kind of yelling out, like, hey, buddy, like, I don't, that it's not like the contracts, at my place.
Don't take it to the bank.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. But it just shows you, I think that what people are talking about now is they have kind of moved past the Cup final is Connor, right? Where's he at? Where will he be at? How long will he be there for? How is he feeling about Edmonton? What do you think this looks like this week, next month? And, that is the big story. People say, are you kind of off for the summer? And I said, yeah, I would say I have a good chunk of the summer off. I said, but of course, when Connor signs, if that's in the summer, that would, I'd be switching the sandals and shorts to, a suit and shoes. So, we all look forward to that. I think everyone, feels that he will, but until he does, no one will feel fully comfortable and I guess at ease.
Yeah. Did we lose Gene? Oh.
No, it's still here.
Okay, there you go. Hey, we do have to dash, but I'm making two notes here. One is you got Connor re-signing. Okay, that's good. And two, you're not going to dress in a banana outfit for the press conference with 97.
No, I'll be dressed up appropriately.
Got it. Hey, by the way, put me down. I thought your haircut looked great.
You know what? I'm getting at the doors lots of reaction to my haircut, and I would say mainly positive. People seem to like it, which means I was overdue to get it done.
Did you say 18 months, 19 months between haircuts?
Months, yeah. Well, if you're splitting hairs, yeah.
Did I set myself up for that one? Okay. All right, fine. Hey, Gene, thanks. Always great chatting.
I know you got to cut me off. Take care, buddy.
Yeah, no, not a problem. We've known each other for too long. 1984. That goes back way too far.
See you, pal.
Talk to you later. Jane Principe from Rogers Sportsnet joining us right here on Oilers Now.